There we are. Finally, it is time. Hello, darling. Hello, E.T. Welcome. Welcome, all my children, to today's reading session. It's so nice of you to join me. Oh, I think I hit the mic by accident. So nice of you to join me today for this reading session. They do say reading is so much better when I get to read for you. Oh, such a shame. That's fine, stay as long as you can, if you want, of course. Very well. Ah, thank you for saying hi. Alrighty. Just need to. Ooh, now that I think about it. Oh. A click, huh? Alright, darling, thank you for showing up. Hope I can see you later. Here's a click for you, good girl. My day has been going pretty well so far. It's been a very, very good day indeed. I would say it's an enjoyable experience. Goodbye, darling. Have a good day, okay? I have a silly idea for my avatar now that I think about it. After playing out that bit. My morning was pretty good too. Just in general, I had a pretty good day. Yep. Let's see here. Oh. Oh, this cable is gonna be the death of me, I swear. Okay. Oh yeah, true, I forgot. I need to do this for the eyes and everything. I'll tell you in just a second. I'll be reading the next story after the one from last time, or maybe one after that, depending on what's it called. Priest. Yeah, I already posted the announcements. Thank you. And I'll start a YouTube soon. Oh, I need to fix this one too. God damn it. I didn't have foresight, it seems. Shame on me, I guess. that should be everything I need, question mark. Let me check. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna set the YouTube real quick so we can start. I need to log in with Discord, of course. Oh well. In the meantime, I'm gonna turn on my light so that I can do the thing. And let's see where we left off, shall we? We read Dagon, we read Sidney Randolph Carter, and we read The Doom That Came to Sarnath. So the next one should be The Cats of Ulthar. That's the next one. Let's see how many pages it is. Oh, it's like 3 pages, okay. After that is a Nameless City. That is 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. Holy shit, Nameless City is pretty long. Okay, maybe I'll skip Nameless City for now. But yeah. Let's see. You want to get clicky too? Okay. Good girl, E.T. Here's a click just for you. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is gonna look so goofy. Let me see if it works. You're always very good. Of course you are. All the time. Okay, let's see how this... Oh, it looks so funny. I'm gonna have to adjust the size, but this looks very silly already. Priest Regalia. Priest Regalia. Let's see, maybe something like this might be good. Yeah, today I shall be Priest Regalia for this little tale for reading today. I think it's fitting for me to be a priest, you know. Oh, it's because it's open, so it won't let me save it. So I'm just gonna do this. I just need to adjust the size because it looks a little goofy like this. But yeah. Okay, and now we just modify it real quick and it should be all good. Oh yeah, I think this is a little better. Just a little better. There we go. I'm just gonna fix it slightly more. Oh, what did I do? $1,070. And then this one should be the same size, I think. Okay, yeah. Hopefully that'll be more concise. There we go. Yep. That looks a little better. Okay, now we're in business. Very well. Now it's time to start. Time to begin today's reading session. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, maybe lower this one a little too, just for the sake of consistency. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Perfect. There we go. Now we have it. Okay. I feel like I'm satisfied with this. Let's begin now. I shall start reading for you. Let me just get the raining noise now. There we go. Okay. How is this? How is the sound of the rain compared to my voice? Is it okay? Let me get a little more comfy. Also, sounds good. Okay, perfect then. Let me read you a little story then. We're gonna start with The Cats of Ulthar. I'll just type that real quick in the text prompt. In properties, The Cats of Ulthar. Oh. Thank you very much for following Stargirl EXE. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I drew a regalia, a priest regalia for one of my, well, just for fun, really. And oops, car jump scare, I think. And I decided, hey, this looks pretty good, actually. So I decided to just get it as a little model thingy for now, you know. I think it looks pretty good. Oh, the sound repeating. Fun. I mean, yeah, I'll show you the drawing and you tell me if it's fun or not, you know. You, dear viewers, will be the judge. Let me just get an image. Tell me. Oh wait, I need to. It's not immediate access to the folders, so I am just gonna get it real quick. Red Priest, there we go. I still need to make a video version of it, but okay, I'm just gonna put it on screen so you can see it. I'm just using these two as my thingy, but look at that. How does this make you feel? Would you join my religion? Cult. Religion? Cult. Religion? Oh, car jump scare. It looks good. Thank you very much. And I thought, oh, it's just Twitch does automatically replaces emoji, like I guess text emojis with like their side wide ones, and I don't think there's a way to disable it, but I haven't really looked, so who knows. I also should get some water real quick. So yeah, I'm gonna dub this comic too with like a very freaky voiceover, like, I don't know. Before we begin, come forth and confess your sins to me, my child. After all, we're about to add debauchery to your list. You know, something like that. Maybe a little freakier. So yeah, that is the comic where this comes from, but I noticed that it would be perfect to have Regalia praised for reading Lovecraft stories. I think it's quite fitting, don't you agree? You would? Ah, such a good girl. Thank you so much. Here's a click for you for that. Okay. And with that said, let us read The Cats of Ulthar. It's a short story and it goes like this. It is said that in Ulthar, which lies beyond the river of sky, no man may kill a cat. And I agree, since I am a cat in a way. I understand why cats are sacred. And this I can verily believe, as I gaze upon him who sitteth purring before the fire. For the cat is cryptic, and close to strange things which men cannot see. He is the soul of antique Aegyptus, and bearer of tales from forgotten cities in Meroe and Ophir. He is the king of the jungle's lord, and heir to the secrets of hoary and sinister Africa. The Sphinx is his cousin, and he speaks her language. But he is more ancient than the Sphinx, and remembers that which she had forgotten. In Ulthar, before ever the Borgesses forbade the killing of cats, there dwelt an old courter and his wife, who delighted to trap and slay the cats of their neighbors. Why they did this, I know not, save that many hate the voice of the cat in the night, and take it ill that cats should run stealthily about yards and gardens at twilight. You got pasta? Oh, very nice. Enjoy your pasta as you listen to the reading. But whatever the reason, this old man and woman took pleasure in trapping and slaying every cat which came near to their hovel. And from some of the sounds heard after dark, many villagers fancied that the manner of slaying was exceedingly peculiar. Good girl, E.T., thank you very much for the redeem. But the villagers did not discuss such things with the old man and his wife, because of the habitual expressions on the withered faces of the two, and because their cottage was so small and so darkly hidden under spreading oaks at the back of a neglected yard. In truth, much as the owners of cats hated these odd folks, they feared them more. And instead of berating them as brutal assassins, merely took care that no cherished pet or mouser should stray towards the remote hovel under the dark trees. Here comes the yawnings. So early yawning, insane. When through some unavoidable oversight a cat was missed, and sounds heard after dark, the loser would lament impotently, or console himself by thanking fate that it was not one of his children who had thus vanished. For the people of Ulthar, for the people of Ulthar were simple, and knew not whence it is all cats first came. One day a caravan of strange wanderers from the south entered the narrow cobble streets of Ulthar. Dark wanderers they were, and unlike the other roving folk who passed through the village twice every year. In the marketplace they told fortunes for silver, and bought gay beads from the merchants. What was the land of these wanderers none could tell, but it was seen that they were given to strange prayers, and that they had painted on the side of their wagons strange figures with human bodies and the heads of cats, hawks, rams, and lions. And the leader of the caravan wore a headdress with two horns and a curious disc betwixt the horns. There was in this singular caravan a little boy with no father or mother, but only a tiny black kitten to cherish. The plague had not been kind to him, yet had led him this small furry thing to mitigate his sorrow. And when one is very young, one can find great relief in the lively antics of a black kitten. So the boy, whom the dark people called Menes, smiled more often than he wept as he sat playing with his graceful kitten, on the steps of an oddly painted wagon. On the third morning of the wanderer's stay in Ulthar, Menes could not find his kitten, and as he sobbed aloud in the marketplace, certain villagers told him of the old man and his wife, and of sounds heard in the night. And when he heard these things, his sobbing gave place to meditation, and finally to prayer. He stretched out his arms towards the sun and prayed in a tongue no villager could understand, though indeed the villagers did not try very hard to understand, since their attention was mostly taken up by the sky and the odd shapes the clouds were assuming. It was very peculiar. Oh, stretch, okie dokie. Oh, a bread seller jump scare. Let me stretch there. But first, yawn. There we go. Time to stretch. There we go. Stretching real nicely. There. Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but my back cracks so good. I'm not tired. It's every time I read, I just get yawny. I don't know why. I think it's because I started related reading with bedtime stories, and thus I just started getting sleepy, but I am not tired. I'm fine. Although thanks to that, if you move too fast, me is only when I'm reading. Probably because I speak too much and my brain thinks I need more oxygen, like Darling said in a stream earlier. I usually don't speak so much in such a short amount of time, you see. But yeah, I'm fine. Although I can only handle about 2 hours of reading, a little less as a result, tragically. But it's fine. Anyways, moving on, now that I've stretched. It was very peculiar. But as the little boy uttered his petition, there seemed to form overhead the shadowy, nebulous figures of exotic things, of hybrid creatures crowned with horned flank discs. Nature is full of such illusions to impress the imaginative. Yeah, I won't be Johnny anymore, that's true. It just happens. Like, as soon as I stop reading, I stop getting Johnny too. Unless that's a threat from you, E.T. That night, the wanderers left Ulthar and were never seen again. And the householders were troubled when they noticed that in all the village there was not a cat to be found. From each hearth the familiar cat had vanished. Cats large and small, black, grey, striped, yellow and white. Old Cranon, the burgomaster, swore that the dark folk had taken the cats away in revenge for the killing of Menes' kitten, and cursed the caravan and the little boy. But Neith, the lean notary, declared that the old cotter and his wife were more likely persons to suspect, for their hatred of cats was notorious and increasingly bold. Oh, it's funny. Well, yeah, I'm quite humorous. Still, no one durst complain to the sinister couple, even when little Atal, the innkeeper's son, vowed that he had at twilight seen all the cats of Ulthar in that accursed yard under the trees, pacing very slowly and solemnly in a circle around the cottage, to abreast, as if in performance of some unheard of rite of beasts. The villagers did not know how much to believe from so small a boy, and though they feared that the evil pair had charmed the cats to their death, they preferred not to chide the old cotter till they met him outside his dark and repellent yard. So Ulthar went to sleep in vain anger, and when the people awakened at dawn, behold, every cat was back at his accustomed hearth, large and small, black, grey, striped, yellow and white. None was missing. Very sleek and fat did the cats appear, and sonorous with purring content. The citizens talked with one another of the affair, and marveled not a little. Alright, E.T. Here's another click for you. Such a good girl you are. Thank you for the redeem. You'd prefer Seer? Okay, bet. Then you have to prefer me. Okay. With that, old Cranon again insisted that it was the dark folk who had taken them, since cats did not return alive from the cottage of the ancient man and his wife. But all agreed on one thing, that the refusal of all the cats to eat their portions of meat or drink their saucers of milk was exceedingly curious. And for 2 whole days the sleek, lazy cats of Ulthar would touch no food, but only those by the fire or in the sun. It was fully a week before the villagers noticed that not lights were appearing at dusk in the windows of the cottage under the tree. Then the lean Neith remarked that no one had seen the old man or his wife since the night the cats were away. In another week, the burgomaster decided to overcome his fears and call at the strangely silent dwelling as a matter of duty, though in so doing he was careful to take with him Shank the blacksmith and Thol the cutter of stone as witnesses. And when they had broken down the frail door, they found only these: 2 cleanly picked human skeletons on the earthen floor, and a number of singular beetles, crawling in the shadowy corners. There was subsequently much talk among the burgesses of Ulthar. Seth, the coroner, disputed at length with Neith, the lean notary, and Cranon and Shang and Thol were overwhelmed with questions. Even little Atal, the innkeeper's son, was closely questioned and given a sweet meat as reward. They talk of the old cotter and his wife, of the caravan of dark wanderers, of small Menes and his black kitten, of the prayer of Menes, and of the sky during that prayer, of the doings of the cats on the night the caravan left, and of what was later found in the cottage under the dark trees in the repellent yard. And in the end, the burgesses passed that remarkable law which is told of the traders in Hatheg and discussed by travelers in Nier, namely that in Ulthar no man may kill a cat. The end. That is The Cats of Ulthar by H.P. Lovecraft. And I hope you enjoyed that little story, my kittens. Imagine if I just started calling you pet names out of nowhere. Wouldn't that be crazy? Some will cringe, some will get a little freaky. But in the end, all of us, we're gonna have fun. Yeah. During this stream, my followers, my beautiful, dutiful followers are now my kittens. Amazing. Alright. I think this one should be, let's see here, one. That's 4 something. All the girls here could be called cats? Yeah, why? Just because they'd meow for me without exception? Or for another reason I'm not thinking of right now? Maybe I do. Another reason? Okay. I mean, you can always. Really? I mean, if that were the case, I would think they would be called dogs, you know? After all, no man can kill a cat in Ulthar. Oh, fair enough. I mean, you can tell me later, maybe. Now, we're gonna read a story called Herbert West Reanimator. I think this one has multiple chapters. It has 3, 4. Oh, it has a lot of chapters actually. So this will be good. I could probably read a few chapters, 1 or 2, and then I can switch to another one and then go back to it later. Yep, okay, that's what we're gonna do. This is Herbert West Reanimator. I'm gonna write the title so you know which one it is. Oh, speaking of cats, there is a little kitty meowing. If only I can hear you all meow. Herbert West. Oh. Reanimator. I should get some Stephen King books too. I would love to read you it. Well, we'll see. There we go. Herbert West Reanimator. Chapter 1 goes like this. Of Herbert West, who was my friend in college and in other life, I can speak only with extreme terror. This terror is not due altogether to the sinister manner of his recent disappearance, but was engendered by the whole nature of his life work. Oh, hydration, okay. Thank you for reminding me. My throat is about to get a little parched up, so yep, I'll drink some water and you can hear me. There we go. Some wedding drinking ASMR for you. Moving on. But was engendered by the whole nature of his work, and first gained its acute form more than 17 years ago when we were in the third year of our course at the Miskatonic University Medical School in Arkham. While he was with me, the wonder and diabolism of his experiments fascinated me utterly. Yeah, whether drinking ASMR is always nice too. But yeah. What do you mean I'm always thirsty? Huh? Okay, enjoy your dinner. Thank you for joining me. I hope you return soon enough. Goodbye. Eat well, okay? While he was with me, the wonder and diabolism of his experiments fascinated me utterly. And I was his closest companion. Now that he's gone and the spell is broken, the actual fear is greater. Memories and possibilities are even more hideous than realities. You gotta make fun of me? Of course. You definitely can make fun of me. That's your specialty. The first horrible incident of our acquaintance was the greatest shock I ever experienced, and it is only with reluctance that I repeat it. As I have said, it happened when we were in medical school, where West had already made himself notorious through his wild theories on the nature of death and the possibility of overcoming it artificially. On in stream, of course. His views, which were widely ridiculed by the faculty and by his fellow students, hinge on the essentially mechanist nature of life, and concern means for operating the organic machinery of mankind by calculated chemical action after the failure of natural processes. In his experiments with various animating solutions, he had killed and treated immense numbers of rabbits, guinea pigs, cats, dogs, and monkeys, till he had become the prime nuisance of the college. Several times, he had actually obtained signs of life in animals supposedly dead. In many cases, violent signs, but he soon saw that the perfection of his process, if indeed possible, would necessarily involve a lifetime of research. It likewise became clear that, since the same solution never worked alike on different organic species, he would require human subjects for further and more specialized progress. It was here that he first came into conflict with the college authorities, and was debarred from future experiments by no less a dignitary than the dean of the medical school himself, the learned and benevolent Dr. Alan Halsey, whose work on behalf of the stricken is recalled by every old resident of Arkham. I had always been exceptionally tolerant of West's pursuits, and we frequently discussed his theories, whose ramifications and corollaries were almost infinite, holding with Haeckel that all life is a chemical and physical process, and that the so-called soul is a myth. My friend believed that artificial reanimation of the dead can depend only on the condition of the tissues, and that unless actual decomposition has set in, a corpse fully equipped with organs may, with suitable measures, be set going again in the peculiar fashion known as life. That the psychic or intellectual life might be impaired, that the psychic or intellectual life might be impaired by the slight deterioration of sensitive brain cells, which even a short period of death would be apt to cause. West fully realized. Another click. Good girl, E.T. It had at first been his hope to find a reagent which would restore vitality before the actual advent of death, and only repeated failures on animals had shown him that the natural and artificial life motions were incompatible. He then sought extreme freshness in his specimens, injecting his solutions into the blood immediately after the extinction of life. It was this circumstance which made the professor so carelessly, oh my god. It was this circumstance which made the professors so carelessly skeptical, for they felt that true death had not occurred in any case. They did not stop to view the matter closely and reasoningly. That's where we're gonna stop for now. I am gonna take a little ad break, and then we'll be back, okay? Alrighty. Make sure to, take a nice break, rest, relax, go drink some water, maybe stretch yourself. Or have me stretch you. And I will be right back. Mwah. And we are back. Hello there. Okay. Let me just do something really good. Oh, microphone. How are we liking the story so far? And yes, I am. Oh yeah, I am going to... we plug this in. Okay, there we go. We are ready. Let's continue then. I'm glad you're having fun. Let's see here. Okay. So, continuing on now. Let's see. Of course, I had to yawn the moment I was about to start reading. Classic. Okay. It was not long. It was not long after the faculty had interdicted his work that West confided to me his resolution to get fresh bodies in some manner and continue, in secret, the experiments he could no longer perform openly. To hear him discussing ways and means was rather ghastly, for at the college we had never procured anatomical specimens ourselves. Whether the morgue proved inadequate, two local... Oh, my vision was blurry for a second, what the hell? Whenever the morgue proved inadequate, two local Negroes attended to this matter. Or I guess Negroes, I don't know. I forgot that Lovecraft was a racist fucker. That's so... oh my god. I'm just reading the book. And also I'm dark skinned, so I guess it's okay. Attended to this matter, and they were seldom questioned. West was then a small, slender, spectacled youth with delicate features, yellow hair, pale blue eyes, and a soft voice. And it was uncanny to hear him dwelling on the relative merits of Christ Church Cemetery and the Potter's Field, because practically everybody in Christ Church was embalmed, a thing, of course, ruinous to West's researches. I was, by this time, his active and enthralled assistant, and helped him make all his decisions, not only concerning the source of bodies but concerning a suitable place for our loathsome work. It was I who thought of the deserted Chapman farmhouse beyond Meadow Hill, where we fitted up on the ground floor an operating room and a laboratory, each with dark curtains to conceal our midnight doings. The place was far from any road and in sight of no other house, yet precautions were none the less necessary, since rumors of strange lights started by chance nocturnal roamers would soon bring disaster on our enterprise. It was agreed to call the whole thing a chemical laboratory if discovery should occur. Gradually, we equipped our sinister haunt of science with materials either purchased in Boston or quietly borrowed from the college. Materials carefully made unrecognizable, safe to the expert eye, and provided space and peaks for the many variables we should have to make in the cellar. Oh yeah, true, I forgot that. I kinda had my headphones a little off. Alright, there we go, now it should be rain noises. Apologies for that. Thank you for reminding me. Mwah. Here's a click for you. Well done. Gradually, we equip our sinister haunt of science with materials either purchased in Boston or quietly borrowed from the college. Materials carefully made unrecognizable save to expert eyes, and provided spades and picks for the many variables we should have to make in the cellar. At the college we used an incinerator, but the apparatus was too costly for our unauthorized laboratory. Bodies were always a nuisance, even the small guinea pig bodies from the slight clandestine experiment in Wes's room at the boarding house. Adjusting my headphones real quick. There. Oh. Oh man, I forgot. Where do I fucking silence this fucking app? Let's see here. Let's see, can I mute these notifications? Yeah. None. Okay, that should be fixed. Let's see here. Okay, there we go, that should be good. It's WhatsApp. My real life friends are sending messages right now, and I don't know why, like, WhatsApp keeps being annoying. It doesn't let me just close it. And I'm too lazy to figure it out right now, honestly. Anyway. We followed the local death notices like ghouls, for our specimens demanded particular qualities. What we wanted were corpses interred soon after death and without artificial preservation. Preferably free from malforming disease and certainly with all organs present. Accident victims were our best hope. Not for many weeks did we hear of anything suitable, though we talked with morgue and hospital authorities, ostensibly in the college's interests, and often as we could without exciting suspicion. We found that the college had first choice in every case, so that it might be necessary to remain in Arkham during the summer when only the limited summer school classes were held. In the end, though, luck favored us, for one day we heard of an almost ideal case in the potter's field. A brawny young workman drowned only the morning before in Somers Pond, and buried at the town's expense without delay or embalming. That afternoon, we found a new grave and determined to begin work soon after midnight. It was a repulsive task that we undertook in the black small hours, even though we lacked at that time the special horror of graveyards, which later experiences brought to us. We carried spades and oil dark lanterns, for although electric torches were then manufactured, they were not as satisfactory as the tungsten contrivances of today. The process of unearthing was slow and sordid. It may have been gruesomely poetical if we had been artists instead of scientists, and we were glad when our spades struck wood. The lid. No. When the pine box was fully uncovered, West scrambled down and removed the lid, dragging out and propping up the contents. I reached down and hauled the contents out of the grave, and then both toiled hard to restore the spot to its former appearance. The affair made us rather nervous, especially the stiff form and vacant face of our first trophy. But we managed to remove all traces of our visit. When we had patted down the last shovelful of earth, we put the specimen in a canvas sack and set out for the old Chapman place beyond Meadow Hill. On an improvised dissecting table in the old farmhouse, by the light. Oh, stretching, okay. Time to stretch now. There we go. A little bit of stretching. And some hydration, of course. There we go. Very nice. Okay. Continuing on. On an improvised dissecting table in the old farmhouse, by the light of a powerful acetylene lamp, the specimen was not very spectral looking. It had been a sturdy and apparently unimaginative youth of wholesome plebeian type. Large-framed, grey-eyed, and brown-haired. A sound animal without psychological subtleties. Not just interrupting me with Liz today, of course, you little brat. And probably having vital processes of the simplest and healthiest sort. Now with the eyes closed, it looked more asleep than dead. To the expert test of my friend soon left no doubt of the score. Of course you're not. We had at last what Wes had always longed for, a real dead man of the ideal kind, ready for dissolution, prepared according to the most careful calculations and theories for human use. The tension on our part became very great. We knew that there was scarcely a chance for anything like complete success, and could not avoid hideous fears and possible grotesque results of partial animation. Especially were we apprehensive concerning the minds and pulses of the creature, since in the space following death, some of the more delicate cerebral cells might well have suffered deterioration. I myself still held some curious notions about the traditional soul of a man, and felt a awe at the secrets that might be told by one returning from the dead. I wonder what sights this placid youth might have seen in inaccessible spheres, and what he could relate if fully restored to life. But my wonder was not overwhelming, since for the most part I shared the materialism of my friend. He was calmer than I, as he forced a large quantity of his fluid into a vein of the body's arm, immediately hiding the incision securely. The waiting was gruesome, but West never faltered. Every now and then, he applied his stethoscope to the specimen and bore the negative result philosophically. After about 3/4 of an hour without the least sign of life, he disappointedly pronounced the solution inadequate. But determined to make the most out of his opportunity and try one change in the formula before disposing of his ghastly prize. We had that afternoon dug a grave in the cellar and would have to fill it by dawn. For although we had fixed a lock on the house, we wished to shun even the remote risk of a ghoulish discovery. Besides, the body would not even be approximately fresh the next night. So taking the solitary acetylene lamp into the adjacent laboratory, we left our silent guests on the slab in the dark and bent every energy to the mixing of a new solution, the weighing and measuring supervised by West with an almost fanatical care. The awful event was very sudden and wholly unexpected. I was pouring something from one test tube to another, and Wes was busy over the alcohol blast lamp, which had to answer for a Bunsen burner in this gasless edifice. When, from the pitch black room we had left, there burst the most appalling and demonic succession of cries that either of us had ever heard. Not more on Not more unutterable could have been the chaos of hellish sound if the pit itself had opened to release the agony of the damned, for in one inconceivable cacophony was centered at the supernatural terror and unnatural despair of animate nature. Human it could not have been. It is not in man to make such sounds. And without a thought of our late employment or its possible discovery, both West and I leaped to the nearest window like stricken animals, overturning a tubes, lamp, and retorts, and bolting madly into the starred abyss of the rural night. I think we screamed ourselves as we stumbled frantically towards the town, though as we reached the outskirts we put on a it fell on my keyboard by accident. Though as we reached the outskirts we put on a semblance of restraint, just enough to seem like belated revelers staggering home from a debauch. We did not separate, but managed to get to West's room, where we whispered with the gas up until dawn. By then, we had calmed ourselves a little with rational theories and plans for investigation, so that we could sleep through the day, classes being disregarded. But that evening 2 items in the paper, wholly unrelated, made it again impossible for us to sleep. The old deserted Chapman house had inexplicably burned to an amorphous heap of ashes. That we could understand because of the upset lamp. Also, an attempt had been made to disturb a new grave in the potter's field, as if by futile and spadless clawing at the earth. That we could not understand, for we had patted down the mound very carefully. And for 17 years after that, Wes would West would look frequently over his shoulder and complain of fancied footsteps behind him. Now he has disappeared. Oh, I accidentally pinned the thing. I think I'm not a rat. That's so funny that I pinned that. Now he has disappeared. That is the end of chapter 1. And now let's see. What's another one that's short enough for us to finish with? The Lurking Fear. Let's see, that's 4 pages. Oh, this one's not too long. Okay. To finish off, we are going to read The Lurking Fear. Let me just change the text. Yeah, I'm already getting tired, so this will be the last one. Only 4.5 pages. Should be fine. Or I guess only 4 pages actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the first chapter only, but that's fine. This is the first chapter of The Lurking Fear. Let me check how much Herbert West chapter 2 is before anything. One, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I could read chapter 2. It's not too long now that I'll think about it. Yeah. Oh, I already changed the title like an idiot because I thought it was gonna be longer. Let's check chapter 2 and see how it goes. Chapter 2. Oh, I guess it's normal numbers. So chapter 2. There we go. Okay. Chapter 2. The Plague Demon. I shall never forget that hideous summer 16 years ago, when, like a noxious affright from the halls of Iblis typhoid, stalked leeringly through Arkham. It is by that satanic scourge that most recall the year, for truly terror brooded with bat wings over the pile of coffins in the tombs of Christ Church Cemetery. Yet for me, there is a greater horror in that time. A horror known to me alone now, that Herbert West has disappeared. West and I were doing postgraduate work in summer classes at the medical school of Miskatonic University, and my friend had attained a wide notoriety because of his experiments leading towards the revivification of the dead, after the scientific slaughter of uncounted small animals in the freakish work had ostensibly stopped by order of our skeptical dean, Dr. Alan Halsey. Though West had continued to perform certain secret tests in his dingy boarding house room, and had, on one terrible and unforgettable occasion, taken a human body from its grave in the Potter's Field to a deserted farmhouse beyond Meadow Hill. I was with him on that odious occasion, and saw him inject into the steel veins the elixir which we thought would to some extent restore life's chemicals and physical processes. It had ended horribly, in a delirium of fear which we had gradually came to attribute to our own overwrought nerves. And West had never afterward been able to shake off a maddening sensation of being haunted, and haunted. The body had not been quite fresh enough. It is obvious that no motorcycle jump scare. It is obvious that to restore normal mental attributes, a body must be very fresh indeed. And the burning of the old house had prevented us from burying the thing. It would have been better if we could have known it was underground. After that experience, Wes had dropped his researches for some time. But as the zeal of the born scientist slowly returned, he again became importunate with the college faculty, pleading for the use of the dissecting room and of fresh human specimens for the work he regarded as so overwhelmingly important. His pleas, however, were wholly in vain, for the decision of Dr. Halsey was inflexible, and the other professors all endorsed the verdict of their leader. In this radical theory of reanimation, they saw nothing but the immature vagaries of a youthful enthusiast whose slight form, yellow hair, spectacled blue eyes, and soft voice gave no hint of the supernormal, almost diabolical power of the cold brain within. I can see him now as he was then, and I shiver. He grew stern of face, but never elderly, and now Sefton has had the mishap and West has vanished. West clashed disagreeably with Dr. Halsey near the end of her last undergraduate term in a worldly dispute that did less credit to him than to the kindly dean in point of courtesy. He felt that he was needlessly and irrationally retarded. Holy shit! I did not expect that. He felt that he was needlessly and irrationally retarded in a supremely great work. A work which he could of course conduct to suit him in later years, but which he wished to begin while still possessed of the exceptional facilities of the university. I think that one is referring to him just being delayed, not actually being like mentally challenged. I think at least. That the tradition-bound elders should ignore his singular results on animals and persist in their denial of the possibility of reanimation was inexpressibly disgusting and almost incomprehensible to a youth of West's logical temperament. Only greater maturity could help him understand the chronic mental limitations of the professor-doctor type, the product of generations of pathetic puritanism, kindly conscientious and sometimes gentle and amiable, yet always narrow, intolerant, custom-ridden, and lacking in perspective. Age has more charity for these incomplete yet high-saluted characters, whose worst real vice is timidity, and who are ultimately punished by general ridicule for their intellectual sins. Sins like motorcycle jump scare. Sins like Ptolemyism, Calvinism, anti-Darwinism, anti-Nietzscheism, and every sort of Sabbatharianism and sumptuary legislation. West, young despite his marvelous scientific acquirements, had scant patience with good Dr. Halsey and his erudite colleagues. Yes, and nursed an increasing resentment, coupled with a desire to prove his theories to these obtuse worthies in some striking and dramatic fashion. Like most youths, he indulged in elaborate daydreams of revenge, triumph, and final magnanimous forgiveness. And then had come the scourge, grinning and lethal, from the nighttime caverns of Tartarus, from the nightmare caverns of from the nightmare caverns of Tartarus. West and I had graduated about the time of its beginning, but had remained for additional work at the summer school, so that we were in Arkham when it broke with full demonic fury upon the town. Though not, though not, as yet, though not as yet licensed physicians, we now had our degrees and were pressed frantically into public service as the number of the stricken grew. The situation was almost past management, and deaths ensued too frequently for the local undertakers fully to handle. Burials without embalming were made in a rapid succession, and even the Christchurch cemetery receiving tomb was crammed with coffins of the unembalmed dead. Dead, yeah. This circumstance was not without effect on West, who thought often of the irony of the situation. So many fresh specimens, yet none for his persecuted researches. We were frightfully overworked, and the terrific mental and nervous strain made my friend brood morbidly. But West's gentle enemies were no less harassed with prostrating duties. College had all but closed, and every doctor of the medical faculty was helping to fight the typhoid plague. Dr. Halsey, in particular, has distinguished himself in sacrificing service, applying his extreme skill with a wholehearted energy to cases which many others shunned because of danger of apparent hopelessness. Before a month was over, the fearless Dean had become a popular hero, though he seemed unconscious of his fame as he struggled to keep from collapsing with physical fatigue and nervous exhaustion. West could not withhold admiration for the fortitude of his foe, but because of this was even more determined to prove to him the truth of his amazing doctrines. Taking advantage of the disorganization of both college work and municipal health regulations, he managed to get a recently deceased body smuggled into the university dissecting room on one night, and in my presence injected a new modification of his solution. The thing actually opened its eyes, but only stared at the ceiling with a look of soul-petrifying horror, before collapsing into an inertness from which nothing could rouse it. Oh, I am? Weird. Let me see. Okay, what about now? Is this better? Also, let me go the sounds and see how they go. Also, welcome. Toast. Microphone, okay. Level should be fine. Oh, is the rain too loud? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna make it a little less, a little lower, and let's see how that goes. Okay. All in away from mic. Okay, that makes sense. I probably was. I mean, now that I think about it, is that good? Is this fine? Okay, I'll continue reading and tell me if it's too loud or too yeah, a little bass boosted. Okay, I know why. I think this should be better then. Okay. Just tell me if it's like how it goes. West said it was not fresh enough. The hot summer air does not favor corpses. That time, we were almost caught before we incinerated the thing, and West doubted the advisability of repeating his daring misuse of the college laboratory. Amazing. What, are you blushing at the fact that hot summer air does not favor corpses? You freak. You absolute necrophiliac. Shaking my head, I cannot believe this. The peak of the epidemic was reached in August. West and I were almost there, and Dr. Halsey did die on the 14th. The students all attended the hasty funeral on the 15th and brought an impressive wreath, though the latter was quite overshadowed by the tribute sent by wealthy Arkham citizens and the municipality itself. It was almost a public affair, for the dead had surely been a public benefactor. After the entombment, we were all somewhat depressed, and spent the afternoon at the bar of the commercial house, where West, though shaken by the death of his chief opponent, chilled the rest of us with references to his notorious theories. Most of the students went home or to various duties as the evening advanced, but West persuaded me to aid him in making a night of it. West's landlady saw us arrive at his room about 2 in the morning with a third man between us, and told her husband that we had all evidently dined and wined rather well. Apparently, this acidulous matron was right, for about 3 a.m. the whole house was aroused by cries coming from West's room. Where they broke down the door, they found the two of us unconscious on the blood-stained carpet, beaten, scratched, mauled, and with the broken remnants of West's bottles and instruments around us. Only an open window told what had become of our assailant, and many wondered how he himself had fared after the terrific leap from the second story to the lawn which he must have made. There were some strange garments in the room, but West, upon regaining consciousness, said they did not belong to the stranger, but were specimens collected for bacteriological analysis in the course of investigations on the transmissions of germ diseases. He ordered them burnt as soon as possible in the capacious fireplace. To the police, we both declared ignorance of our late companion's identity. He was, West nervously said, a congenial stranger whom we had met at some downtown bar of uncertain location. We had all been rather jovial, and West and I did not wish to have our pugnacious companion hunted down. That same night saw the beginning of the second Arkham horror. The horror that to me eclipsed the plague itself. Christchurch Cemetery was the scene of a terrible killing. A watchman, having been clawed to death in a manner not only too hideous for description, but raising a doubt as to the human agency of the deed. The victim had been seen alive considerably after midnight. The dawn revealed the unutterable thing. The manager of a circus The manager of a circus at the neighboring town of Bolton was questioned, but he swore that no beast had at any time escaped from his cage. Those who found the body noted a trail of blood leading to the receiving tomb, where a small pool of red lay on the concrete just outside the gate. A fainted trail led away towards the woods, but it soon gave out. The next night, devils dance on the roof of Arkham, and unnatural madness howl in the wind. Let's see, what is this? Ooh. Oh, it's Snappy. Hello, welcome to the stream, darling. We're almost at the end, but there's still a little bit of story to read. The next night, well, I'll continue now. The next night, devil dance on the roof of Arkham. An unnatural madness howl in the wind. Through the fevered town had crept a curse which some said was greater than the plague, and which some whispered was the embodied demon soul of the plague itself. 8 houses were entered by a nameless sting which threw the red death in its wake. In all, 17 maimed and shapeless remnants of bodies were left behind by the voiceless, sadistic monster that crept abroad. The weirdest sermon, yeah, they're raising the dead, brother. A few persons had half seen it in the dark, and said it was white and like a malformed ape of anthropomorphic fiend. It had not left behind quite all that it had attacked, for sometimes it had been hungry. The number it had killed was 14. 3 of the bodies had been in stricken homes and had not been alive. On the 3rd night, frantic bands of searchers, led by the police, captured it in a house on Crane Street near the Miskatonic campus. They had organized the quest with care, keeping in touch by means of volunteers' telephone stations. And when someone in the college district had reported hearing a scratching at a shuttered window, the net was quickly spread. On account of the general alarm and precautions, there were only 2 more victims, and the capture was effected without major casualties. The thing was finally stopped by a bullet, though not a fatal one, and was rushed to the local hospital amidst universal excitement and loathing. For it had been a man. This much was clear despite the nauseous eyes. The voiceless simianism and the demonic savagery. They dressed the wound and carted it to the asylum at Sefton, where it beat its head against the walls of a padded cell for 16 years, until the recent mishap, when it escaped under circumstances that few like to mention. What had most disgusted the searchers of Arkham was the thing they noticed when the monster's face was cleaned. The mocking, unbelievable resemblance to a learned and self-sacrificing martyr who had been entombed but 3 days before. The late Dr. Alan Halsey, public benefactor and dean of the medical school of Miskatonic University. To the banished Herbert West, and to me, the disgust and horror were supreme. I shudder tonight as I think of it. Shudder even more than I did that morning. when West muttered through his bandages, "Damn it, wasn't quite fresh enough." And that is chapter 2 and the end of today's reading. So, for those of you that missed it, Dr. Herbert West and the nameless narrator of the story were two medical students. They did something terrible 17 years before the start of the story, where the reader was being interviewed, probably by authorities, about the disappearance of Herbert West, the one with a brilliant mind who was wholly obsessed with injecting chemicals into a dead person's body to try and reanimate them. When he finally, after experimenting on animals, managed to get a fresh corpse, him alongside the narrator were able to reanimate it. Whoa. Motorcycle jump scare. They were able to reanimate the corpse, but only for a second, or at least they hoped, as it began screaming guttural, non-human noises that scared them away, and as it left a lamp in a cottage, it caused it to be lit on fire. And so, hopefully, that creature died. And so Dr. Herbert realized that the formula was probably not right, and the body was not fresh enough. And so they did another experiment a year later in the faculty's morgue. They almost got caught, but were able to burn the body before they did. Oh, I see a mosquito. I gotta kill it. Oh, it disappeared, goddammit. Anyways, as they did, once again, before burning it, they were able to reanimate it slightly. The body opened its eyes, but just looked up in absolute terror. So once again, Dr. Herbert said that the body wasn't quite fresh enough. And now, at the death of his enemy, he injected the liquid into his body. And so, it once again was not quite fresh enough. That is where we currently are, and where we'll currently stop. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. It's fun to read and read and read, and delve deeper into the horrors of H.P. Lovecraft. What do you think of the story so far? Did you like it? Oh, hydration, thank you. Yeah, I probably do need a little bit of water. There we go. Some water ASMR. Yeah, shame. But hey, if you wanna listen to the entire thing, you can check the VOD. Which, oh my god, I forgot to start the YouTube stream. God damn it! I clicked it, but apparently it didn't register. I guess I didn't forgot, but still, I kinda forgot. And that is Herbert West, Reanimator, chapters 2 and 4. A clip chat. Oh, go ahead, do it. I'll just copyright strike you and get all the income from us. But yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I will be ending stream now. Well, actually, now that I think about it. What? What? Goddamn what? I'm gonna do a little, like, a quick roll and do a limbo spoil to end the stream. Let's see here, D20. Oh! And not one, damn, I'm not getting anything. A 17, and then base of 3, a 14. That probably won't be too good, but hey. Let's open Limbos real quick and be silly. Let me just... Rimbus Company. Just a quick pull and then we can leave. Just watch me do a pull. There we go, it works. I will force you to watch me play Limbos for just a second. What?! This is so sad. This is so sad. The server is under maintenance. Well, fuck me, I guess. Yes, I do. I have an addiction to good games. Oh, well. Well, fuck that, I guess. Yes, absolutely. I am a Limbus addict and there's nothing you can do to stop me. Or Dio, true. Mukatu Kuruna or something, I don't know, I've never watched JoJo's. Gigi's Bizarre Fanventure. Oh, you were able to make it? Oh, that's so nice. However, I am about to end. You know what? I feel bad. Why don't I read... Oh, actually, ads are about to start, so... Why don't I read a poem real quick from Edgar Allan Poe before I end? Just so that you don't come back in vain, you know? And also so I can just not finish right before the ads. So, I will be back in a few minutes, and then I'll read a little poem to end, okay? You fell asleep? Oh, I'm glad my voice is able to make you fall asleep. To make you fall asleep. That's so nice. Okay, I will be back. Just wait for me, okay? And we are back. There we go. Let the sounds of rain return. There we go. Hello. Alright, I will read a little poem before ending stream. Oh. Good girl, darling. Thank you for the redeem. There's your click. And then for poems, 658. Oh. Well, what's it called? A sneeze jump scare. $658. Okay. Thank you. You were holding onto your pillow. I hope it was something romantic then. Thank you, thank you. Okay. I will read a short poem for you all. Or at least what seems like, actually no, it's pretty long. What the fuck? Okay, what about this one? Yeah, this one's short enough. Well, now that I think about it, it's not too long because since it's in poem format, it should be fine. I'll just read the bells. I'll read them in order. Okay. This poem is called The Bells, and it goes like this. It's the first time I'm reading it, so excuse the mistakes. Hear the sledges with the bells, silver bells. What a word of merriment their melody foretells. How they tinkle, tinkle, tinkle in the icy air of night. While the stars... Oh, wait. That's not a good idea for me to do that. There we go. I was about to take off my headphones, but no. While the stars that Of course, city. There's a click, you little brat. And then you make me stretch? Of course. Okay, interrupting me right as I start. Of course you do. You naughty brat. Cannot believe you. Shaking my head. There we go. Continuing on. In the icy air of night, while the stars that oversprinkle, all the heavens seem to twinkle with a crystalline delight, keeping time, in a sort of runic rhyme. To the tintinnabulation that so musically wells from the bells, 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 bells. From the jingling and the tinkling of the bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. What a world of happiness their harmony foretells. Through the balmy air of night, how they ring out their delight. From the molten golden notes, and all in tune, what a liquid dirty it floats. To the turtle dove that listened, while she gloats on the moon. Oh, from the sounding sails, what a gush of euphony voluminously wells. How it swells, how it dwells on the future, how it tells of the rapture that impels to the stringing and the ringing of the bells, bells, bells. Of the bells, 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 to the rhyming and the chiming of the bells. There's another click, you absolute tiny brat. Moving on with the poem. Hear the loud alarum bells, brazen bells. What tale of terror now their turbulency tells? In the startled ear of night, how they scream out their affright. Too much horrified to speak, they can only shriek, shriek, out of tune, in a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, in a mad expostulation with the deft and frantic fire. Leaping higher, leaping higher, 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 with a desperate desire and a resolute endeavor, now to see it or never. By the side of the pale-faced moon, oh, the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells of despair. How they clang and clash and roar, what a horror they outpour on the bosom of the palpitating air. Yet the ear, it fully knows, by the thwanging and the clanging, how the danger ebbs and flows. Yet the ear distinctly tells, in the jangling and the wrangling, how the danger sinks and swells. By the sinking or the swelling in the anger of the bells, of the bells, of the bells, 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 in the clamor and the clangor of the bells. Hear the tolling of the bells, iron bells, what a world of solemn thought their mundane compels. In the silence of the night, how we shiver with affright at the melancholy meaning of their tone. For every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan. And the people, the people, they that dwell up in the steeple, all alone, and who, tolling, 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 in that muffled monotone, feel a glory in so rolling on the human heart as stone. They are neither man nor woman, they are neither brute nor human. They are ghouls, and their king it is who tolls, and he rolls, 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 a pin from the bells. Click. And his merry bosom swells with the paean of the bells. And he dances and he yells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the paeans of the bells, keeping time, 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 in a sort of runic rhyme, to the throbbing of the bells, 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 to the sobbing of the bells, keeping time, 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 as he kneels, 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 in a happy runic rhyme, to the rolling of the bells, 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 to the tolling of the bells, 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 to the moaning and the groaning of the bells. And I think that's the end of this poem. Now I close the book. You want me to read John 4:13? Oh, sure. 64 bits? Hell yeah, I'll do it because you gave me money. Let's see. Oh, darling, okay. Here you go, darling. Such a good girl, I click for you. Oh, I think I just gave you a click in a monotone voice because I thought you were at ET before. I'm sorry. Actually, here, have another click as compensation for being so rude. Okay. John 4:13. Let me see. The one that says Jesus answered, that one? Do you want me to read like only that little John 13 and 14, or do you want me to read starting from 13 all the way to like 26? Or are you like, what's it called? I do not want to say it. 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 13 to 14. Okay, okay. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna read it. Okay. So the quote goes, Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." Got here. I had to say it. Got here. I could not help but say it. You absolute monster. I'm gonna kill you, Toast. I am gonna murder you in your sleep. And probably you'll get turned on by it because you are a freak. Yeah, no, it's pretty appropriate actually. Especially because I'm so thirsty. There we go. I'm gonna do a little drinking. Or more like a little more drinking. But yeah. With that little poem and a little bit of Bible reading, that is gonna be it for tonight. Thank you. Oh, hydration. I just drank water. Okay, I guess I'll drink a little bit more. There we go. As I was saying before, I was how to call that? Hydra how to say it? I want to say a stupid word that doesn't exist, but I don't know how's the right way to say it. It sounds weird. I cannot say it. Before this motherfucker interrupted me, I was gonna say. Oh, first I get interrupted by this asshole, then I get interrupted by my motorcycle. How amazing! How wonderful! I hope you all enjoyed this fucking guy. Oh, of course you'd be enjoying me insulting you, you pathetic little freak. Oh, don't worry, Dolly. Hi, how are you doing? So nice to see you here. I was just threatening to murder this man because yeah. Oh my god. I'm trying to end stream and everyone gets so freaky, shaking my head. Oh, no, Dolly. It's okay. Since you're here, I'll extend the stream just to read the story I promised you. You're stealing my voice samples? No, not again. I cannot believe you're gonna make a clone of me. You know what? Let's continue for a little longer, just because I did promise Dolly I would read her a story from Edgar Allan Poe, and I'll be doing that now. Consistency be damned. Okay, give me just a second for me to search the right page. And then, let me see. The Mask of the Red Death, page 210. Okay. Everyone thank Dolly for extending the stream a little bit so I can read this. The Mask of the Red Death. Aw, such an adorable sheep. How could I not read you something, Dolly? Come on. I would never do that to you just because you joined right at the end of the stream. Unless I was dying. Which is surprisingly enough, it's been 2 hours of me reading. And I just haven't been able to... I haven't gotten tired enough, I guess. And right now, I just got a massive dopamine hit from all of this bullshit, so... You know. This is The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. And it goes like this. Oh, wait. Okay. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its avatar and its seal, the redness and the horror of blood. There were sharp pains and sudden dizziness, and then profuse bleeding at the pores with dissolution. The scarlet stains upon the body, and especially upon the face of the victim, were the pest band which shut him out from the aid and from the sympathy of his fellow men. And the whole seizure, progress and termination of the disease were the incidents of half an hour. Oh yeah, let me check to calculate. Oh yeah, should be good. But the Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and dames of his court, and with the retired to the deep seclusion of one of his castellated abbeys. This was an extensive and magnificent structure, the creation of the prince's own eccentric yet august taste. A strong and lofty wall girdled in. This wall had gates of iron. The courtiers, having entered, brought furnaces and massy hammers and welded the bolts. They resolved to leave means neither of ingress or egress to the sudden impulses of despair or of frenzy from within. The abbey was amply provisioned with such precautions. The courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, there were improvisatori, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine. All this and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was towards the close of the 5th or 6th month of this seclusion, and while the pestilence raged most furiously abroad, that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that masquerade. But first, let me tell of the rooms in which it was held. There were 7, an imperial suite. Oh my god! Oh, thank you, my toast, for the tier 3 sub to Dolly. That's so cool. So kind of you. Thank you very much. Ooh, and for me, you're purple with a purple heart, Dolly. That is so. That's great. I love how that looks on you. Thank you very much, Toast. Very, very much so. Oh yeah, it repeats twice. I gotta fix that one day. I'm just so lazy. Anyways, moving on. There were 7, an imperial suite. In many places, however, such suites form a long and straight vista, while the folding doors slide back nearly to the walls on either hand, so that the view of the whole extent is scarcely impeded. Here, the case was very different, as might have been expected from the Duke's love of the bizarre. The apartments were so irregularly disposed that the vision embraced but little more than one at a time. There was a sharp turn at every 20 or 30 yards, and at each turn a novel effect. To the right and left, in the middle of each wall... Oh, my eye twitched a little for some reason. To the right and left, in the middle of each wall, a tall and narrow Gothic window looked out upon a close corridor, which pursued the windings of the suite. These windows were of stained glass whose color varied in accordance with the prevailing hue of the decorations of the chamber into which it opened. That at the eastern extremity was hung, for example, in blue, and vividly blue were its windows. The second chamber was purple in its ornaments and tapestries, and here the panes were purple. The third was green throughout, and so were the casements. The fourth was furnished and lighted with orange, the fifth with white, the sixth with violet. The seventh apartment was closely shrouded in black velvet tapestries that hung all over the ceiling and down the walls, falling in heavy folds upon a carpet of the same material and hue. But in this chamber only, the color of the windows failed to correspond with the decorations. The panes here were scarlet, a deep blood color. Now, in no one of the 7 apartments was there any lamp or candelabrum. Amid the profusion of golden ornaments that lay scattered to and fro or dependent from the roof, there was no light of any kind emanating from a lamp or candle with the suite or chamber, but in the corridors that followed the suite there stood, opposite to each window, a heavy tripod bearing a brazier of fire that protected its rays through the tinted glass and so glaringly illumined the room. And thus were produced a multitude of gaudy and fantastic appearances. But in the western of black chamber, the effect of the firelight that streamed upon the dark hangings through the blood-tinted panes was ghastly in the extreme, and produced so wild a look upon the countenances of those who entered that there were few of the company bold enough to set foot within its precinct at all. It was in this apartment, also, that there stood against the western wall a gigantic clock of ebony. Its pendulum swung to and fro with a dull, heavy, monotonous clang, and when the minute hand made the circuit of the face, and the hour was to be stricken, there came from the brazen lungs of the clock a sound which was clear and loud and deep and exceedingly musical, but of so peculiar a note and emphasis that, at each lapse of an hour, the musicians of the orchestra were constrained to pause momentarily in their performance to hearken to the sound, and thus the waltzers perforce ceased their evolutions. Motorcycle jump scares twice, that's insane. Anyways, and there was a brief disconcert of the whole gay company, and while the chimes of the clock yet rang, it was observed that the giddiest grew pale, and the more aged and sedate passed their hands over their brows as if in confused reverie or meditation. But when the echoes had fully ceased, a light laughter at once pervaded the assembly. The musicians looked at each other and smiled as if at their own nervousness and folly, and made whispering vows, each to the other, that the next chiming of the clock should produce in them no similar emotion. And then, after the lapse of 60 minutes, which embraced 3,000 and 6,000 seconds of the time that flies, there came yet another chiming of the clock, and then were the same disconcert and tremulousness and meditation as before. But, in spite of these things, it was a gay and magnificent revel. The tastes of the Duke were peculiar. He had a fine eye for colors and effects. He disregarded the decora of mere fashion. His plans were bold and fiery, and his conception glowed with barbaric luster. There are some who would have thought him mad. His followers felt that he was not. It was necessary to hear and see and touch him to be sure that he was not. He had directed, in great part, the movable embellishments of the 7 chambers. I don't know, you heard my back crack there. Moving on. Upon occasion of this great fete, and it was his own guiding taste which had given character to the masquerade. Indeed, Ogis and Crack. I'm so old. Be sure they were grotesque. There were much glare and glitter and piquancy and phantasm, much of what has been seen in Hernani. There were arabesque figures with unsuited limbs and appointments. Thank you. That just makes me want to laugh more. There were delirious fancies such as the madman fashions. There was much of the beautiful, much of the wanton, much of the bizarre, something of the terrible, and not a little of that which might have excited disgust. To and fro in the 7 chambers there stalked, in fact, a multitude of dreams. And these, the dreams, writhed in and about, taking hue from the rooms and causing the wild music of the orchestra to seem as the echo of their steps. And anon there strike the ebony clock which stands in the hall of the velvet. And then, for a moment, all is still, and all is silent save the voice of the clock. The dreams are stiff frozen as they stand, but the echoes of the chime die away. They have endured but an instant, and a light, half subdued laughter flows after them as they depart. And now again the music swells, and the dreams live and writhe to and fro more merrily than ever, taking hue from the many tinted windows through which stream the rays from the tripods. But to the chambers which lie mostly westwards of the seven. Oh, sorry for that. Mostly westwardly from of the seven, there are now none of the maskers who venture, for the night is waning away, and there flows a ruddier light through the blood-colored panes, and the blackness of the sable drapery appalls. And to him whose foot falls upon the sable carpet, there comes from the near clock of ebony a muffled pearl more solemnly emphatic than any which reaches their ears who indulge in the more remote gaieties of the other apartments. But these other apartments were densely crowded, and in them beat feverishly the heart of life, and the revel went whirling on until at length this commenced the sounding of midnight upon the clock. And then the music ceased, as I have told, and the evolutions of the waltzers were quieted, and there was an uneasy cessation of all things as before. But now there were 12 strokes to be sounded by the bell of the clock. And thus it happened, perhaps, that more of thought crept, which more of time, into the meditations of the thoughtful among those who revelled. And thus too it happened, perhaps, that before the last echoes of the last chime had utterly sunk into silence, there were many individuals in the crowd who had found leisure to become aware of the presence of a masked figure which had arrested the attention of no single individual before. And the rumor of this new presence having spread itself whisperingly around, there arose at length from the whole company a buzz or murmur, expensive or disapprobation and surprise, then finally of terror, of horror and disgust. In an assembly of phantasms such as I have painted, it may well be supposed that no ordinary appearance could have excited such sensation. In truth, the masquerade license of the night was nearly unlimited, but the figure in question had out-Heroded Herod, and gone beyond the bounds of even the prince's indefinite decorum. There are chords in the hearts of the most reckless which cannot be touched without emotion. Even with the utterly lost, to whom life and death are equally jests, there are matters of which no jest can be made. The whole company, indeed, seemed now deeply to feel that in the costume and bearing of the stranger neither wit nor propriety existed. The figure was tall and gaunt, and shrouded from head to foot in the habiliments of the grave. The mask, which concealed the visage, was made so nearly to resemble the countenance of a stiffened corpse that the closet scrutiny must have had difficulty in detecting the cheat. Of course you would, you freak. And yet, all this might have been endured, if not approved, by the masked revelers around. But the mummer had gone so far as to assume the type of the Red Death and the type of Dolly Memeko. His vesture was dabbled in blood, and his broad brows, with all the features of the face, was besprinkled with a scarlet horror. When the eyes of Prince Prospero fell upon this spectral image, which with a slow and solemn movement, as if more fully to sustain its role, stalked to and fro among the waltzers, he was seen to be convulsed. In the first moment, with a strong shudder either of terror or distaste, but in the next his brow reddened with rage. "Who dares," he demanded hoarsely, of the courtiers who stood near him, "who dares insult us with this blasphemous mockery? Seize him and unmask him, that we may know whom we have to hang at sunrise from the battlements." It was in the eastern of blue chamber in which stood the Prince Prospero, and as he uttered these words, they rang throughout the 7 rooms loudly and clearly. For the prince was a bold and robust man, and the music had become hushed at the waving of his hand. It was in the blue room where stood the prince, with a group of pale courtiers by his side. At first he spoke. There was a slight rushing movement of his group in the direction of the intruder, who at the moment was also near at hand, and now, with deliberate and stately step, made closer approach to the speaker. But from a certain nameless awe, with which the mad assumption of the murderer of the mummer had inspired the whole party, there were found none who put forth hand to seize him, so that unimpeded he passed within a yard of the prince's person, and while the vast assembly, as if with one impulse, shrank from the centers of the room to the walls, he made his way uninterruptedly, but with the same sullen and measured steps which had distinguished him from the first, through the blue chambers to the purple, through the purple to the green, through the green to the orange, through this again to the white, and even thence to the violet, ere a decided movement had been made to arrest him. It was then, however, that the Prince Prospero, maddening with rage and the shame of his own momentary cowardice, rushed hurriedly through the 6 chambers, while none followed him on account of a deadly terror that had seized upon all. He bore aloft a drawn dagger and had approached in rapid impetuosity to within 3 or 4 feet of the retreating figure, when the latter, having attained the extremity of the velvet apartment, turned suddenly and confronted his pursuer. There was a sharp cry, and the dagger dropped gleaming upon the sable carpet, upon which instantly afterward fell prostrate in death the Prince Prospero. Yeah, that word is a little tough. Then, summoning the wild courage of despair, a throng of the revelers at once threw themselves into the black apartment, and, seizing the mummer, whose tall figure stood erect and motionless within the shadow of the ebony clock, gasped in unutterable horror at finding the grave cerements and corpse-like mask which they handled with so violent and rudeness, untenanted by any tangible form. And now was acknowledged the presence of the Red Death. He had come like a thief in the night, and one by one drove the revelers in the blood bedwet halls of the revel, and died each in the despairing posture of his fall. And the life of the ebony clock went out with that of the last of the gay, and the flames of the tripods expired, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all. That is the end of the Mask of the Red Death. Despite the little mistakes, I hope you all enjoyed. Tell me what you thought. It's a very fun story. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed. I like the fact that everyone thought it was a mask. That was a very nice twist indeed. Of course. Not enough red? What do you mean? There was red? Oh, I'm glad you do. I hope the reading has helped you all just relax a little, enjoy and think about what you're listening to. Oh yeah, hydration time, thank you. I shall drink some water now. Oh, you want me to click you, darling? Of course. Here you go, darling. Good girl. Thank you very much for the redeem. Alright. And with that story told, you want me to stretch? Okie dokie. Oh yeah, true. I'm gonna stretch a little then. You're right. What's it called? There we go. My arms got a little like what's it called? You want me to touch my toes? Okay, let me get up and touch my toes. Luckily for you, I am very flexible. Yep. I am a very flexible person. I can very easily reach the ground and just touch it almost with my full palms. It depends, really. Yeah. With enough effort, I can just put my entire palms in the ground while standing on the floor while standing up. It's pretty cool. But yeah. That's about it for tonight. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture, and I hope to see you again at another time. Of course, thank you for joining Dolly, Toast, Darling, E.T. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Goodbye. It's time to rest now. There we go. Oh, yeah, here. For being so good to me, everyone. Good night.